Good afternoon, everyone. It is 4 o'clock. This is Real Beach Talks number 5. You see, we're going to put the real person hat on today. Yep. All right. What we're going to talk about today is building on our islands. So the figures that I'm going to give you are approximations. We can substantiate them all, but we can also change them somewhat because of different locations. The term we're going to use a bunch today is under all is the land. The land is the most important thing when we're looking at beach properties. So there are thousands of homes on our 16 little barrier islands. Our barrier islands are 27 miles long and go from Tierra Verde and Isla del Sol, from Pasagrille up to Island Estates, which is east of Clearwater. On these barrier islands, there are approximately 49,000 condos and homes, and single-family homes. My guess is that there's about 20,000 of the 49,000 that are single-family homes. 75% of the single-family homes are built on the ground with their first living area on the ground. This means that there is a flood insurance challenge. So if 75% of them are built on the ground, 25% are built up. So if you were a prudent buyer, a real person with a real person hat on like me, I'm going to go look for the 25% rather than the 75%. Now, I think that the Pinellas County beaches are one of the largest redevelopment projects in the state of Florida. Now, I knew that for years, so I brought builders in, some of our national builders that we represent, and said, hey, we got a potential of about 20,000 homes that could be tear downs in the next few years as flood insurance goes up. You guys are building in Hillsborough County for $85 a square foot, so why not come over here, double the price you charge, and have your contractors run up and down the beach every couple of blocks or so and do their contracting work. Every one of the builders said, well, that's a great idea. However, it's not our model. What we like is to build 100 or 200 houses in a row, so the plumber only has to walk 20 feet to the next house to put in the plumbing. So I said, okay, so we'll see what happens with that. So what happens is that if you want to buy a lot and custom build on the beaches, you're going to pay close to $300 to $400 and something a square foot for the house. Then you got to buy the land. This leaves you with an option of, if you buy an old house, you tear it down, and it'll cost you $10,000 to $20,000 to tear the old house down, and then you have to find a builder to build a new house. Since the national builders aren't going to come here, or for a while I don't think they're going to come here, then you have to depend on the builders that are local, that are building out of a pickup truck or don't have a real sophisticated operation. And even more problematic is that you're going to be building a custom home. That means you have to design it from scratch. Then the builder has to get his subs to bid on them. And since the subs never built a home like that before, in that particular model, they're going to charge you a lot of money. That's why it's costing $300 to $400 and something a square foot to build a new home. So another option would be to buy the old homes. Buy the old homes, and if you plan on building a new home at some point, live in the old home, travel down from Indianapolis, spend your vacations down here, but don't put a whole lot of money in it, and plan in a couple of years to tear it down and build a new house. However, what if you just buy on the mainland? If we look at Google Maps, let me pull this up a second. Our technology is increasing every week, but it's not perfect yet. And we have here a map of the barrier islands. It's on Google Maps, and it's going from St. Pete Beach or Pasagrille, Isabel Sol, and Tierra Verde, all the way up to 27 miles to Clearwater and then Island Estates there. But why not just go over here to the mainland and buy a lot and build a house? That's a great idea, if that's for you. That's what I wrote here. If we buy on the mainland, you'll have less chance of flooding, less appreciation, and you can always drive to the beach. So that makes a lot of sense. So we know that we can buy a lot over here in Pinellas Park or somewhere around the mainland in St. Petersburg for about $20,000. We can buy a house, buy a lot without a house on it. And then we build a house on it. We got a beautiful house on a cheap lot. However, it's not going to appreciate much, and it's not a beach lifestyle. So why do people like the beach lifestyle? Because most people move to Florida to be on the water. The bigger the body of the water, the more they're paid for the land. So the land prices on the mainland over here can be 10% of the prices on the beach. So it may be simpler for your customers, since I don't know how many customers we might have online, but we have most of the agents online. Your customers can buy a nice house on a cheap lot on the mainland. They can buy a not so nice house on an expensive lot on the beach. So why do you guys think that people would buy on the beach rather than buying on the mainland, paying 10% more? Heather, what?
Land value.
Land value.
Higher at the beach.
Under all is the land. So if there are only a certain number of lots left that are on the Gulf of Mexico or on the barrier islands, every time one sells, it increases the price. There are many, many lots inland not on water, so those prices tend to stay lower. So let's use an example. We're in Pinellas Park and we find a 50 by 100 foot lot. And that 50 by 100 foot lot is $20,000. We buy that lot and we can build a house on it. But let's say that we want to take that lot and move it over to Treasure Island. So we put the lot on a flatbed truck. We move it over to Treasure Island and we stick it in the middle of Treasure Island, not on the water. That same piece of dirt that was $20,000 in Pinellas Park is now $200,000. Same exact lot. That's 10 times more. Now, that's 50 by 100 foot lot. If the lot is 70 by 120 foot, it would be more, proportionately more. So you got it? Next step is, what happens if you take that same lot on Treasure Island and now you move it to a canal, and let's say not even the best part of a canal, the canal that's right across the street from another canal. So you're looking out at the back of the lot and you're looking over your seawall and you're seeing about 300 feet away the back of someone else's house across the canal. That lot, the same lot that was $20,000 that we put on a truck and moved to non-waterfront over here, it was $200,000. Then we move it to the water, it's $400,000. Wow. So at $400,000 on not a great canal, what happens if you move that 50-foot lot to the end of a canal where you're looking eastward over the intercoastal waterway a mile across the open water to the mainland? Is it worth more? Worth considerably more. You're then up to dollars per front foot. So the 50 by 100 foot lot in Pinellas Park is the size of all the dirt. When we move it over to Treasure Island, it's the frontage on the street that make it worth 200,000. When we move it onto a canal, it starts getting to per foot costs. So it's about $5,000 a front foot on the water. Or no, it isn't. It's $8,000 a front foot, because 50-foot lot times 8,000 on a canal is $400,000. So now that land is worth $8,000 a front foot. So if you move that 50-foot lot to the end of a canal overlooking a mile of open water, it's worth even more. Now let's take the giant step and let's put that 50 by 100-foot lot on the flatbed truck and move it over to Treasure Island, Sunset Beach, or anywhere along the beaches on the Gulf of Mexico. That $20,000 lot that started out in Pinellas Park moved to $200,000 not on the water in Treasure Island, moved to $400,000 on a canal in Treasure Island, now just moved to $1,500,000 on the sand, or $30,000 a front foot on the Gulf of Mexico for the same piece of dirt. So why wouldn't everybody move to Pinellas Park? Because it's not the beach. So now let's look at what we do. So if you come and let's say that you're going to buy a piece of property on a canal and it's $400,000. The $400,000 lot on the canal, then you have to build a house on it. And there's lots of things to consider before you build a house. One of the major figures, what is the most important thing you have to figure out when you're going to build a house on a canal? Remember, a lot of these canals are dredged up. 50, 60 years ago, they took the sand out of the bottom of the canal and they put it up on top of another pile of sand, and then they put a seawall around and filled it in. So the most important thing that you have to consider before you build a new home on that lot on a canal is the weight of the house and the soil that's underneath the house. So now you have to say, are we building on piling or are we building on a slab? On most of the houses on the beach that are either on the beach or on canals may have to be built on with pilings. That's going to add considerably to the cost of your house. So far it sounds like maybe if we put our real person hat on, we ought to just buy a $20,000 lot in Pinellas Park and build a nice house on it and drive to the beach when we want to go to the beach. However, what we find out with people when they put the real person hat on and they buy a house for their family, they think about what they're going to do with their family more than what they think about the property as being an investment for them for later on. So what we found with the 75% of the houses that are built on the ground along the barrier islands, that even though we tell our prospects that maybe you want to buy one of these houses, but you don't want to put a whole lot of money in it because eventually it's a tear down as flood insurance goes up. I'm talking about the flood insurance premium going up. I'm not talking about what happens if a storm hits. All right, there's another challenge. So when you consider your home being an investment, and you have 75% down here and 25% up here, you're smarter to buy the 25%, right? As long as there's no living area down below where the second living area is. So you have to be careful of what you're investing in. So if we buy a $400,000 lot and we're going to pay $400,000 a square foot for a house, and we put a 4,000 square foot house on that $400,000 lot, we're going to put $800,000 in a new house on a $400,000 lot. So now we have $1,200,000 in that property. And people are doing that every day now. So if you have one of the $400,000 lot that's next to that house that's now $1,200,000, what's that going to do to the price of your $400,000 lot? It's going to bring it up, isn't it? Now, what's it going to do? Now, if it's on the ground, it may bring it up somewhat. But if someone buys that lot to build an $800,000 house on, they got to tear it down. That costs money, $10,000 to $20,000. So it kind of looks like, what do? Therein lies an opportunity. Let's imagine that we have a storm. I mentioned this morning. A hurricane comes, and it's a category 3, not a category 4 or 5. And it comes up in the Gulf of Mexico, and it hits right in the middle of our barrier islands. A category 3 may put a storm surge of 5, 6, 7 feet along the barrier islands, and they would flood. And all the 75% of the homes that are on the ground would now flood. No big deal. It would ruin all your furniture, and you'd have to put new drywall in, but most likely it wouldn't knock the house down. But what it would do, it would cause the barrier islands to be one of the biggest construction projects that you've seen around. Because really, the 75% of the houses at some point should be torn down anyway, because they're 1950, 60, 70 houses. So actually the storm would cause renovation of the barrier islands. The renovation of the barrier islands would increase the prices, and, you know, as Reagan said, a rising tide raises all boats. Well, a rising tide or a storm would raise the prices of everything on the beach. So for you agents, I would think that if the prices are pretty high now, and they'll go higher as people build new houses, that if you're going to focus and become an expert, why not become an expert in an area that's going to be redeveloped, whether a storm hits or not? And you're the agents that don't really know, the other agents don't know what's happening. Because when I explain this to clients, they say, wow, these prices are crazy. But are they crazy? Migration in the state of Florida has gone from Miami to a little town in southwestern Florida called Naples. Naples built up from a little tiny town to now major homes, major condos, major hotels, and then it got too crowded and people moved north to Sarasota County and increased the prices there and built great big condo buildings, 5-star hotels, incredible homes on the Gulf of Mexico and Longboat Key. And then that got crowded. And then people started moving up to little sleepy old Pinellas County. And when they started moving out to Pinellas County, they found a lot of old stuff, people and homes. And amazingly, the old stuff was in downtown St. Petersburg. And that was like the shuffleboard capital of Pinellas County. And then someone got a hold of it and said, hey, wait a minute. If we renovated this a little bit, we might be able to get a lot of people to move downtown St. Petersburg, and it'll be worth a lot of money. Tampa tried the same thing. They had a place called Harbor Island, and they had a tram that they built, a little people mover that went back and forth. And then they started building hotels and condos and stuff like that. And Tampa decided to spread out their development. St. Pete wanted to keep their development concise around Central Avenue downtown. So when Tampa started developing their downtown, they couldn't develop it fast enough to create the atmosphere to bring the people downtown Tampa. And Harbor Island, they gradually closed that little tram that went back and forth and had some financial trouble there. In the meanwhile, St. Pete, because of the consolidation, built up and brought people down there. So many people that the beaches actually became a better buy than downtown St. Pete, because people are moving from the beaches to downtown. Now, as I watch things happen, there's a old saying that says success leaves clues. So we know that when they developed two downtowns, one Tampa and one St. Pete, when they consolidated development in St. Pete, it grew up faster and more expensive. When they spread out the development in Tampa, it grew slower. So we then looked at all the little towns, the 16 towns along the beaches, and said, wait a minute, the 16 towns on the beaches are towns that nobody can keep the boundaries of, because St. Pete Beach has Paso Grill and St. Pete Beach, and it's the same town, but the people in Paso Grill don't think they're in St. Pete Beach. Just like the people in Sunset Beach don't think they're part of Treasure Island. So the only thing that would define these 16 little towns is that they all have a downtown. But none of them have really been developing their downtown to bring people to congregate downtown. So the people went and congregated downtown where? St. Pete. So brainstorm. What if we took the downtowns in the 16 little communities along the beach, and what if we made them like the downtowns in downtown St. Pete? We could develop each one of those downtowns. And from each one of the downtowns, you can walk across the street and go to the beach. Now the people in downtown St. Pete can go look at the water, but it's kind of dirty. You don't want to go swimming in it. But out here, if you take a little downtown and develop it, then you can bring your people back from downtown St. Pete, and now they have the beach and the downtown. So what will that do to the price of the $200,000 non-waterfront lot? We'll increase it, right? What will that do to the $400,000 canal front lot? It'll increase it. What will it do to the $1,500,000 lot that's moved on the Gulf of Mexico? Increase it. Okay, so now let's figure out why more people don't build on the beaches. We know one reason is because the land is too expensive. However, the land is going up every year. The $30,000 a front foot for Gulf front land at the bottom of the market after the big run up and crash in 2005 and 6, at the bottom of the market, it was $15,000 a front foot. So a 100-foot lot would have been $1.5 million. Now a 100-foot lot on the Gulf of Mexico is what? $3 million. How much did that lot in Pinellas Park go up from the bottom of the market to the top of the market where it's at $20,000 now? Went up from 10,000 to 20,000. Not like the beach properties. Okay, let's see where I am in my article now. All right, so if the figures of 20,000 to 200 to 400 to $1.5 million for land amazes you, like it does me, and after you buy that land, then you have to build a house, and the house is going to cost you $300 to $400 a square foot to build because they're custom homes. Then what's a solution to what we're doing, and why is anybody going to pay these ridiculous prices in Pinellas County? Because of the migration that I mentioned. We are less than half of what prices are in Miami, and about the same in Naples, and almost the same in Sarasota. When you go down to Longboat Key, the prices are much more expensive than in Pinellas County. And Pinellas County is the cheapest, in my opinion, the best place to buy at a bargain in the state of Florida. When you go up to Jacksonville and around there, it's kind of a different climate. And on the Gulf of Mexico, the next place, if you look at migration, just look like what happened, people migrating to downtown St. Pete and downtown Tampa. People migrated from Miami to the closest place across Alligator Alley to Naples, up to Sarasota, now to Pinellas County, and now the next step is to migrate next to Pinellas County. What's next to Pinellas County? Mangroves. What's next to the mangroves? Mangroves, mangroves, all the way up till you get to the panhandle. So naturally, the migration has to slow down or stop, because people that buy in Pinellas County don't generally go up to Fort Walton Beach or Pensacola to buy, because it's a different climate, it's a different market, it's totally different than here. So therefore, if you're an investor, then you will most likely, if you're a savvy investor, you come to Pinellas County and buy these lots, even though they're 400,000, 200,000, and $1.5 million. And I get these comps because people have already paid that for them. But if you buy a 50-foot lot in Palm Beach County or in Miami on the Atlantic Ocean, it's double what it is over here. And living in Miami for 20 years like I did, I like living on the Gulf Coast lifestyle much better than that lifestyle. Miami has grown so big with foreign investment. Now Pinellas County is seeing foreign investment coming over here. So when you compare the prices in all the different places, even though we're looking at the high prices in Pinellas County on the Barrier Islands compared to the mainland, and we're a great bargain on the beaches, then all we have to do is build some houses over here that are commensurate with the prices that people are paying on the mainland. It's not going to be exact because you don't know whether you have to build on pilings or not. So there's engineering costs there. But Beach Life Properties, a company that I'm involved in, offered a simple solution to what's happening along the beach. And that is to build a house that is cookie cutter. It's the same house over and over again. Now that sounds really boring, but if you build a good house with a well thought out floor plan and you can duplicate it, you can get your subs to know exactly what they're going to pay to build a house. So you'll build a team of subs that will be able to build multiple houses over and over again and keep the prices down. So if your dream is beach lifestyle, this is the place to be. In spite of the prices here that seem a little bit crazy, compared to every other place, they're cheaper. So what we're doing is we're offering a simple solution to the high beach construction costs. So our construction company has built 7 houses already. 7 houses on Madeira Beach. And I'm going to go on the website that we're using. So I'm not necessarily selling the company that I'm involved in. What I'm doing is trying to explain that this concept can work for any builder, but what they have to keep in mind is that the properties have to be able to be duplicated without becoming custom homes, because custom homes cost a lot more money. So the 7 homes that we built to start with were non-waterfront homes, not on the Gulf of Mexico, across the street from the Gulf of Mexico, and they were 1,325 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes, net zero energy ready, and which means that they're low electric bill and capable to put solar panels on if you so desire. They're on small lots, and the 7 lots are 4 on Gulf Boulevard and 3 behind. And those lots were sold with houses for about $430,000 a piece. Now, the competition for those $430,000 houses are $400,000 lots, 50 by 100-foot lots on canals. So people could actually go and buy a house cheaper on a canal for $400,000, an old house, but it's probably going to be a tear down, and it's not going to be very efficient. But regardless, those 7 houses sold very quickly, and they were all built. In fact, the 2 of them have been resold already, one for $525,000 and the other one for $625,000 in 1 year. So the appreciation of a house, a $400,000 house, of over $100,000 in 1 year, house not on the water, is a pretty good deal. Success leaves clues. So now we're in the process of building 6 houses that are just a little bit bigger, but they're a little bit less expensive. And they're down the street from the 7 that were already built. So the point of what I'm saying, trying to say, is that at around $200 a square foot, we can build a house on the beach that is like a whole bunch of other houses on the beach, except the colors will be changed, the floor plan will be the same as the other ones that we built. And the only difference will be that you'll be able to expand and contract depending upon the width of your lot. But our subs will know exactly what they have to pay to make the house work. Now, one of the most important things about building new compared to building the old buildings that were built 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago are the efficiency of building, the low cost of flood insurance, and net zero energy ready. So the 6 that we're about to build are 5 of the 6 are already reserved. We have 1 left to sell, and then we'll start building them. They'll be very similar to the 7 that we've already built. Now, this is the website that we have. It's called beachlifeprop.com, and it's in the email that I've sent you guys. So let's see. This is the Beach Life Prop website. And this is a picture, these are pictures of the house that was sold for about $430, and then they probably put $100,000 in it in upgrades. That's why it sold for $625. The other one they put $430 in, sold for $525 in a year, so they made $100,000 profit. These people really upgraded the house. So let me get to the front elevation. Now, that is the house as it will be built with very few changes. So that house is going to be about $200,000 to build as it sits right there. It'll be 1,369 square feet of living area, heated and cooled, and it will have tandem two-car garage down below with an option to close the whole bottom part into a garage. The area on the front is a elevator shaft ready. It's an elevator shaft, but it is built as a storeroom off the master bedroom and a storeroom off the garage. So until you're ready to put an elevator in, you can use that for storage. The floor plan is precise. It's 3 bedroom, 2 baths, and very workable floor plan. What you see is what you get. You can upgrade the appliances, you can upgrade the crown molding or the flooring, but you're not going to be able to change it substantially. And that is the key to the future of development on the beach. I will want to show you a little video if you can see it on, oh, this is the floor plan. Now, I think we're the first ones to do this on the beach, this particular construction company that we tied into. But there will be others, regular builders, as long as they can do one floor plan that they can sell over and over again, then they can get the prices down. Not as cheap as you can build on the mainland, but a lot cheaper than people are building on the beach. So you can see in this floor plan, you have, since it's not on the water, we don't have any view area really, except the front of the house. So you go up the stairs, you have a deck in front, and this is the closet optional elevator. Come in the front door, you've got a great room with a kitchen, and you have a master bedroom, a big walk-in closet, another big walk-in closet here, and the master bath. Good sized double sinks. You come through the great room, you have your other 2 bedrooms in the back. They are very small. These lots are 45 by 75 feet. So they're the smallest lots that we'll be building. This is the smallest, most efficient floor plan we can build. If someone's building on a 50-foot lot, we're going to be building a model on a 50-foot lot. We'll expand the walls because a 10 by 12 bedroom is about as small as you can efficiently have. And then we can expand the size of the walls, but none of the interior is going to be changed. And that'll be the key, and that'll be tough because it's going to be hard to tell Mr. and Mrs. Smith that they can't have the extra stuff in it, because we want to do a bunch of these because there's a market for a lot. Once we get this product sold and off the ground, we'll develop a second product, which will be a house for the $400,000 lot. What's the $400,000 lot? That's the one on a canal. So if we look at the front elevation of this house, we see we're building on pilings and then 1 floor on top, which puts us in a position where the construction isn't too expensive because we're not going up high. The higher you go, the more it's going to cost to build. But if you double the price of your land, you're going to have to increase the price of your home and the size of your home. So the second home we design will be 2 stories over parking. It'll be a much higher end home, but we'll be able to duplicate that on $400,000 lots. I don't think that we'll get this company to the point where we will be building on the 50-foot lot on the Gulf of Mexico, because that is, when you're going to pay $1.5 million for a lot, it's going to be custom construction, and so we won't do that. But the third plan we want to build is for townhomes, 2 townhomes together on a duplex lot that would then cut the land cost in half. So that'll be the third model that we'll do hopefully in the next couple of years. So one of the major things that we're doing with these homes, besides elevating them, is we're making them net zero energy ready. Where's my little... That home is $398,000. Where are we? Down below. Oh, they put something else in there.
Right above that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to play you this little video if I can get it to stop. All right, net zero energy. You know that solar panels have become very popular, as well as efficient appliances, air conditioning, and a house that's virtually airtight. So the Department of Energy has standards for net zero energy ready homes. 75% of the homes are not.
Buying a home
this
is often the
quality.
largest purchase of a lifetime, with so much
This is
riding
3
on
minutes.
getting it right. However, it's almost impossible to know everything about the complex design and technical options involved in home construction. That's why it's not surprising home buying can be such an overwhelming experience, with numerous pitfalls to consider, such as high energy bills, moisture problems, uneven room-by-room comfort, outdated technologies, respiratory health issues, construction quality defects, and poor return on investment. Wouldn't it be great to know what leading housing experts would look for in a new home that performs to their expectations? Well, now you do. When home performance professionals are polled, they overwhelmingly choose homes that meet or exceed Department of Energy's Zero Energy Ready home specifications. That's because leading experts know that every Zero Energy Ready home includes 7 must-have systems that help ensure a superior homeowner experience. Let's look at each of these 7 systems. Leading experts know optimized thermal protection with roofs, walls, foundations, and windows that meet and exceed next-generation codes help ensure your home is future-ready. Leading experts know whole house water protection inside and outside addresses one of homeowners' biggest maintenance concerns, helping to ensure from the start your home is moisture-ready. Leading experts know a high-performance heating and cooling system includes more efficient equipment and professional installation that allows your entire home to be enjoyed year-round, so it's comfort-ready. Leading experts know a complete package of high-efficiency components include water heating, appliances, lighting, and fans that save energy, work better, and help ensure your home is tech-ready. Leading experts know a comprehensive indoor air quality system protects your family from dangerous contaminants to help ensure your home is health-ready. Leading experts know that solar-ready construction with simple details that minimize the cost and disruption installing solar in the future make your home zero-ready. Leading experts know that enhanced quality assurance with independent inspections, testing, and national program certifications helps ensure your home is performance-ready. So what do these 7 must-have systems cost? Leading experts know this question can only be answered by looking beyond the sales price to the true cost of homeownership, including both the monthly mortgage and energy bills. For example, a Zero Energy Ready home compared to a minimum code home may have a higher sales price that leads to a small increase in the monthly mortgage bill. However, it will also have much lower monthly utility bills with savings that can easily outweigh the added mortgage cost for a lower true cost. Bottom line, the Zero Energy Ready home can cost much less to own every month, while also delivering superior performance. In other words, leading experts know it's a great investment to look for the Zero Energy Ready home label from the U.S. Department of Energy. It's that easy to buy smart. For more information on how you can find a home with the Department of Energy Zero Energy Ready home label, Visit buildings.energy.gov/SEMA.
Okay, that's a low energy, healthy home. That's what we're building. Now, where are we building them? The 6 homes are being built on Madeira Beach. 14910 North. Oh no, we got to do that. Oh, it's there. Would you put in 14910 North Bay Shore Drive? Okay, so 14910 North Bay Shore. Okay, so here's where this is going. Mr. and Mrs. Jones own one of these old houses that are in the 70% of the North Bayshore Drive, 32708. Bayshore, one word. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Jones that own one of these $200,000 lots or one of the $400,000 lots, if their house is, if it has a house on it, it's 200,000. Huh? Oh wait. No, 14910 North Bay Shore Drive. You got a space in between the one. You got to get rid of all those other things. All right, Mr. and Mrs. Jones that have one of the 75% of the homes along the beaches can build a new home with no money down. So if they have a house on a canal that is worth 400,000 as because it's basically land value because it's got a 60-year-old house on it. That land is worth $400,000, so the bank will give them a construction loan without them paying any money up front. So that house can be built. The buyer for the house can look at houses we've already built that are just like it, and they can picture that house because they can walk through it, and they can see Mr. and Mrs. Jones's house that they can put on the market and sell and move out and then have equity in their home. So they can build their own home equity. So if you scroll out, we'll see where it is on the back barrier islands. This is where the 6 homes are. So this is Madeira Beach. This is Stewart Causeway going over to the mainland. And the 6 homes will be built right here, 2 blocks from the Gulf of Mexico on small lots and 3 on each street. Like I said, we have only 1 more to sell before we start building. We're also behind our Madeira Beach office building a model that ground will be broken almost immediately, and we'll lease that one back, and that's what we'll be selling the houses up and down the beach. So Mr. and Mrs. Jones that are in their 70s and they want to sell, they're going to be very surprised that their house is only worth $400,000. It's on a 50 by 100-foot lot on a bad part of the canal, or not much of a canal, and that's all they're going to get for it. So if they take that house and they build one of the little houses that we have at $200,000, then they have $600,000 with the land and the house, and they sell the house and lot for $750,000. So they make $150,000 on it. What did it cost them to build that house? 0. Because of the price of the land, the bank was able to finance the whole construction loan based on the price of the land. Even so much with if someone came to buy that house from Mr. and Mrs. Jones and they wanted to take over the construction loan, they would put 20% down, which would be $120,000 if it were a $600,000 package. And the bank would pay Mr. and Mrs. Jones the $400,000 for the loan after the people put $120,000 down, because there is so much equity in the land on the beaches. And that's one reason you could never do that in Pinellas Park, because that land is worth $20,000. So, not to confuse you, but is there an opportunity on the beaches for renovation of the entire 27 miles of beach? I think there's more opportunity here than anywhere. Longboat Key this has already been done. Naples, this has already been done. Miami, off the wall. So we have a great opportunity here. To give you an example, if we take this little house, the little model that we're building, and put it on a lot that has short-term rental availability. So if we take this house, put this house and put it on Gulf Boulevard where an old motel was. And the old motel was renting rooms for nightly or 3 nights a week or whatever. And we build this house. This house will cash flow with weekly rentals with 60% occupancy. So that means if somebody buys it from Chicago and they pay $400,000 to build it, which is what they paid for the 7 that are built on Gulf Boulevard, and you rent it for 30 weeks at $2,000 a week, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath place on Gulf Boulevard for $2,000 a week is much cheaper than a hotel, correct? Trust me, it is. So that's 30 weeks of rental out of a year. So in your 30 weeks of rental, there's 52 weeks in a year. So the people from Chicago that bought the house have all the expenses paid for from the rental income from 30 weeks, and for 22 weeks out of the year, at odd weeks when it's not rented, they fly down and they can use their house. That becomes a super investment. Got it? Now, if we just take motels from Paso Grill up to John's Pass, there are 138 motels along the beach or up to a block or 2 away from the beach in that area, 138 of them. Most of them are losing money. So we could actually take that motel, we can put a sign on it that we will, depending upon the size of the land, build 4 or 5 houses on there. They can continue to rent the rooms while we're selling the houses. When we've got the houses sold and everybody financed for the construction loan, we can then pay them for the motel, tear down the motel and build the houses. And the houses will cash flow because we'll have people waiting to buy them because it'll cost them more money. They'll be making the money every year. So that's a simple plan. That's what we're going for. It's not taking a big chance because it's based on what happened in Miami, Naples, Sarasota, starting to happen in Pinellas County, based on what's happening with competition between downtown St. Petersburg versus downtown Tampa. Watching what's happening with the little downtowns up and down the beach where they're now starting to develop and getting bars and restaurants and hotels coming up. So you're going to see a great resurgence of things around the beaches. So the end of my talk for today. I can see that we do not have many people online. If you want to bring your customers in, it'll be much more interesting because then I can answer questions instead of trying to talk for an hour. So have a wonderful week. One more house to sell. Step up and buy it. Thanks and goodbye.